Hello and welcome to the latest in our series of podcasts, In-House in Conversation. My name is Rowan Turrall. I'm the Head of Dispute Resolution at Boyes Turner, and I'm delighted to be joined today by Christian Waida, who is the SVP and General Counsel for Legal Business Services at OpenText. Hello, Christian. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Hello, Rowan, and thanks for having me.
Before we kick off, could you tell us a little bit about what it is that OpenText does, and then we'll find a little bit more about you and what it is that you do?
Absolutely. So OpenText, we call ourselves the information company. And what we do is we power and protect information. In a very basic way, we allow companies to gather, collect, structure, and use their information in a way that adds value. We call that the information advantage. We're giving companies the opportunity to gain the information advantage. And that includes a variety of different products. I don't want to go into details because that would probably fill this entire podcast, but that's what we do. We help companies to manage their information.
And in terms of your role, what does that look like and what does your team look like?
My role is a bit of a hybrid role. I started here a long time ago, and we used to do everything in the region. So it's a full service legal department actually in EMEA and APAC. So my team would cover all the commercial activities. We cover privacy. We cover employment law matters. We cover any disputes, litigation. It's done locally. We cover corporate matters. It's a little different in North America, where my team is slightly more commercially focused, and we have our own corporate department handling corporate matters, IP and employment law in North America. So it's a bit of a hybrid model, more commercial in North America and full service legal department in EMEA and APAC.
And it is quite a big team that you run, I understand.
So we just recently, less than a week ago, completed our latest acquisition, and that's the acquisition of Micro Focus. So my team now is 110 people, just shy of that, 109 to be precise, and that's based globally in a good number of jurisdictions. So we have a really good sized global team now.
So effectively, you're running a team that is bigger than many law firms in terms of the number of staff that you're managing.
You could say that, but there are many law firms that are bigger than that.
Oh, yes, of course. Now, how did you come to get to where you are now? Tell us a little bit about your career progression and your background.
I started in the kind of early to mid 90s of the last century. That sounds a long time ago. In private practice, and then kind of in the late 90s, I went in-house as a legal counsel in Germany, and then rose through the ranks. In 2000, I've been given responsibility over Germany. 2001 included Israel and Turkey, and 2002 Eastern Europe. Fast forward in 2004, I was offered EMEA general counsel role. That was at that time was a company called Nortel. We had 30 billion at the peak. So it was a good sized legal department. And we moved to England. Then in 2009, they went insolvent. Unfortunately, one of the biggest insolvencies on the planet. In 2010, I joined another Canadian company that's OpenText. And it was very interesting. Nortel at the peak was 30 billion of revenue and 120,000 employees. When I joined OpenText, it was 700 million of revenue and 3,000 employees. So OpenText has been a wonderful growth story. That's 13 years ago now when I joined them. And when I joined, I had 4 employees reporting into me, and today I have 110.
So growth for the company and growth for you there as well.
I agree, yes.
And what do you like best about your role?
What I like about my role is the variety, and the variety of working in different legal areas, and the variety to work in different cultures, in different regions, in different countries. One of the things that I think is really, really important for a lawyer working with an international team is cultural diversity. We all talk about diversity, and we usually refer to gender diversity and racial diversity. But in a legal department, I think cultural diversity is as important as all of these, because if you look at the finance world, 1 + 1 is 2. 1 + 1 equals to anywhere on the planet. If you look at the legal world, 1 + 1 does not actually equal 2, because some countries have different cultures and they have different laws. And as a result of that, 1 + 1 may actually equal 1.4 or 2.6 or anything in between. So if you're, as a lawyer, if you have that mindset of accepting different cultures and actually learn from them, because there is a reason why in a country like India, 1.1 + 1 may equal 2.3 rather than 2. And they do that for a reason. If you understand that, then actually it helps your own thinking process. You look at things, you learn to look at things from different perspectives. And that makes you richer as a lawyer. And that's probably the thing that I enjoy most.
Yeah, I can say you obviously you cover a lot of countries now with the size of the team that you have. What are the challenges does that present for you?
Well, there is the obvious time zone challenge. It doesn't always make it easy. And we just added another element to that. We now got a colleague in New Zealand, which makes it even harder. We had Sydney before. That's still workable, but New Zealand makes it even tougher. But the challenge really is to, and I wouldn't call it a challenge in a negative sense. I call it, it's more of a positive thing to bring all of these people together. So our philosophy is we operate a global team. We do not want to operate in silos. Silos meaning either people being dedicated to a particular product unit or in a particular country. We really want to be a global team, and we do a lot of things that allow people to be part of that global team and participate in global initiatives. And that's actually the challenge. To arrange all of that. The bigger the team gets, the harder it is to rein everybody in and kind of have that sense of being a global team and belonging together, the sense of togetherness. But we've been doing well so far, and I'm very confident that we will continue to do well.
I mean, do you find sort of, everybody now is using Teams and Zoom and things like that. Do you find that helps you keep your team together? Or is it more of a challenge, not being able to see your team face to face and having that kind of personal contact with them?
Before the pandemic, I used to say you can maintain the relationship over the phone, but you can't build it over the phone. In the post-pandemic area where we have used to video calls, I would still maintain that I don't think you can create a relationship with an individual over a Teams call. You have to meet individuals in person, and we are allowing people and giving people the opportunity to actually meet their colleagues in person, so that they can establish the relationship that they can then maintain over video calls. But every here and there, people need to meet each other, particularly if they've not ever seen each other. And we had that experience. We had a global legal meeting in October of last year. And over the last 2.5, 3 years, we had a good number of new joiners. And it was fantastic to see that the people were really happy to meet in person the people that they've spoken with so many times on video.
Yeah.
So that's the challenge. Yeah.
All off to New Zealand for the next meetup.
Maybe not.
So kind of your international growth has sort of expanded as you sort of continued through your role. But what advice would you give to an in-house lawyer who's taking on leadership of a function that involves an international team for the first time?
The international aspect is the important one. So we're not talking about someone who's taking on a managerial role, but rather someone who's taking on an international managerial role. And that's, again, different. Try to understand where people from different countries are